Hey everyone, I just got done watching someone's video and it got me into feeling like talking about my experience and how things were for me going throughout high school. And I'm going to start by saying that my first half of my freshman year, I was going to the school that was located right by where we used to live, which was out in the country. And for those that did not see my video where I went back to go revisit the old house that we used to live in when we lived out in the country, and I showed you guys my room and a lot of crazy stuff in there and also just how things were out in the country and the outdoors and some other things. I'll have a link in the description below for that. But for the other 3.5 years of going through at high school, there was, I must say that this school was very different from anything I could have ever expected. It was very different from any other school I've ever been to. And there was a lot of things I definitely did learn, and it was definitely an eye opener in several different ways. And the top thing that really stands out right off the bat is the fact that, I was used to going to mostly schools that were 99% white, and this one was very, very mixed races. And there was actually less white people than a lot of races. I guess you could say from, the most common to the least common ones. It was Mexican, African American, white people right in the middle, and then it was Native Americans and Koreans in particular. And they were actually all related and had the same last name. There was no Japanese or anything else. It was specifically Koreans, and it was very interesting at first. And one of the things I will say that was much better going to that school than going to an all white school is that I did not get picked on and I did not get bullied, and there was not as many just jerks there in general. Because when I went to an all white school, one of the top things I would really get bullied for is for not playing football. That was the top reason they would pick on you. They would pick on anybody that doesn't play football, and they acted as if it was the only thing that mattered in life. I mean, it was really sad, and for that they decided to pick on so many people, and it was just really stupid overall. But I did not get picked on in this school, and believe it or not, my freshman year compared to most people was probably a much better experience, because you're going to start out by getting picked on just for being a freshman, and people are going to look down on you and call you stupid and immature and all that kind of stuff. But I actually ended up making a lot of friends, and most of my friends were actually seniors and juniors. And one of the reasons for that might be because most of my classes were actually senior classes, because the school I went to when I was out in the country, they actually allowed you to choose exactly which classes you wanted to. So you could choose senior level classes, and a lot of people ended up doing that because they're like, hey, let's just get the harder classes taken care of, and then, we could kind of, start from the ground up. And because of that, I actually ended up taking some sophomore and freshman classes when I was a senior. And it was very funny because I was the only senior in there. It was very interesting. And I actually ended up with only 2 or 3 main subjects, and all the rest were just extra subjects, whether it was like PE or musics, which in this case it was robotics and mechanics and a couple of other things. It was just very cool overall. And I actually ended up making just so many friends. I got in a couple situations, whether it was, for activities or anything else, that, it was either choose this group or the other to hang out with, because these two groups just don't get along with each other. They just don't. But yeah, I'm friends with, both of them. And I was just friends with so many different types of people, not just one specific type of people, and I hung out with everybody. I got along with so many people. And, there was a couple of things that really stood out about the school. One of the other things is that we actually had a dress code where we had to wear khakis and collared shirts with buttons, which was a great thing, just because if you can get used to dressing like that for school every day, then you'll definitely do good if you have a job that relies on you having to do a specific dress code or dressing in a uniform or anything like that. So it's great to prepare you for that kind of stuff. But there was also scanners. And, we had to go through scanners just to get into school, in the very beginning, because that really slowed things down before you could even get to, the cafeteria for breakfast or anything like that. But that might have been the reason we had scanners and dress code and everything, was because this school was known as the second worst school in the state. Now, even though it's known as the second worst school in the state, I could easily tell you it's not the second worst school in the state. It really isn't. Now, as far as like education and, I guess you could say, fund, or how it was funded, it was not very well funded. It was very on a strict budget. The school itself was over 100 years old, but there wasn't as many teachers or substitutes as there should have been. And, because of that, things weren't as manageable and organized as they probably should have been. And it was just very laid back school. And there was a lot of times where they just really messed up, and there was a lot of times where we had to just change the way that we did things because there wasn't enough money or something else came up, and there were some other problems. And there were times when there was teachers that had to cover 2 classes because we could not get a substitute in time. And there was a lot of crazy things, and it was really crazy. But there was a couple of good things I really did enjoy about that. I mean, just the fact that the teachers were so laid back was really nice, and the fact that I could have a conversation. And I guess you could say for a long time, I was known as that weird guy that could talk to the teachers for like about the entire period. I would usually finish my work before everyone else, at least in the beginning, and then just talk the rest of the class, with, or not talk the rest of the class period with just the teacher, and just everyone's looking like, why are you hanging out over there? Why are you talking to that teacher? Or something like that. It was very strange, but I got along with everybody in general. And there was a lot of things I really did like, and one of the things I could easily say is that even though this school was very laid back and everything like that, there's a lot of things we definitely did learn, and it gave us a better idea of how things work in the real world. And I could easily tell you things aren't as tidy and professional and as organized and manageable as they are in the real world. Sometimes they are, but there's going to be a lot of bumps, and there's going to be a lot of problems, and there's going to be a lot of things that come up and happen. There are going to be times when you have to change things or change the way you do things, and just a lot of other things. So it's more realistic. And there was a lot of things I ended up learning, and I think that, even though this school's not as well organized and professional as it could be, there's a lot of things that I really like the way I learned things, because the way some of the teachers taught things and explained things, and through some of the experiences that I had, I got a better understanding of things, how they work in the real world. And honestly, there were some certain things in the way I learned them that are more not diverse, but universal, because any teacher or any person can just teach you facts, just plain facts, and maybe not even explain to you how it got to that point or how it works or any of that kind of stuff. But the way I learned a lot of things at that school were things that are very universal from like different situations, and the way they taught you were just much better overall, I feel. And there's just a lot of different, when it comes to teaching and just education in general, there's a lot of people like to focus on different areas, and a lot of schools are very different. And one of the top things I'm probably going to talk about that really stood out for my experience going to this high school is at some point there was a school shooting, and it was, I was lucky enough that I did not go to school that day. I don't know what I did the previous day. I either stayed up or just something happened. I just remember I ended up sleeping the entire day, the school day, and I remember just waking up being like, oh crap, I missed school. And one of my friends ended up calling me, and he ended up telling me, dude, there's a shooting right now going on. He's like, really? Or I was like, really? And then he told me it was right by the gas station, because there was a gas station like right across from our school. And I'm like, wow. And I'm just happy my friend did not get hurt or anything like that. And no, I don't think anybody got hurt overall. Someone might have gotten, hurt, but no one died or anything like that, which was a good thing. But it was very interesting to see how that happened. And I was very thankful I didn't go to school that day. I probably would have not gotten hurt, but then again, for all I know, I could have just happened to have been there at the wrong time, or something might have happened. So I'm very thankful for that. And, it was still very ironic that out of all days, I chose that day to oversleep and not go to school, but ended up being good. But the main problem, and the thing I really learned in this, is that when they talked about this on the news channels, they did not even mention the other school that was involved, because it wasn't just our school or our students. Pretty much what happened was that there was another school there was some students from another school that came over to our school and started some crap, and then ended up turning into a shooting. And in my experience, from what I've seen, that is extremely likely true. And I don't remember which school it was, but I have a good idea of who it could have been. But what happened was that I don't know why, but I was staying after school for a while. Actually, it was probably I was having to make up some work or something, maybe. But actually, yeah, it was when I was going to the technology center, and I was going for 3D game design. I would have to get dropped off at my school and not at my house, because they can't do that. They can't drop you off from the technology center to every single individual person's house, because they all live in different school districts and that kind of stuff. But anyways, I remember staying after school a lot, and I was at one point, or a few times, laying on the bench, and I had my hoodie on, and I remember there was a group of guys, and there was a group of guys that was coming from another school. They were just coming to our school, and they were trying to pick a fight with another group of guys. And, for the most part, nothing really bad happened, but they did try to start some fights or something. But, I was just like, kind of like trying to be quiet so then I don't get in trouble, or they don't notice me. And I just had my hoodie on, pretending I was asleep, and just, just trying to be quiet. But anyways, that's probably what ended up happening. And just, I really got ticked off by the simple fact that on the news channels, they did not even mention the other school that was involved. They just said it happened at this school. It was these school students from this school, and they just kept on putting the name of our school like freaking everywhere. They did not say a single thing about the other school that was involved and pretty much started it. It wasn't our school that started it. It was their students from another school that started it. And the fact that they didn't mention it really ticked me off. And because of that, I've learned a lot of things, and I've seen a lot of things throughout life that news stations or news channels You can't trust them. They leave out a lot of very important details, and there's a lot more going on behind the scenes. Well, anyways, that's pretty much it for this video, and sorry if it was a bit ranty and a really long video. There's a lot of things to talk about and cover overall, and a lot of things I wanted to mention, and yeah. So that's pretty much it for this video, and if you guys want to do some videos as well like this, then make sure to post them in the comment section below so that I could go ahead and watch them, because I want to hear your guys' experiences of high school, because I can easily tell you that everybody's experience is going to be very different, at least a little bit different. There might be some very similar ones, but for the most part, everyone's is going to be different in some way, shape, or form. Anyways, that's it for this video. Thank you guys again for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.